What's up guys, Garrett with self.dev. Today we're going to go over some JavaScript ES6 array methods and how to use them. More specifically, filter, find, indexOf, map, and sum/every. Those are kind of the same, so we're going to just include those in one file and group those together. But let's get going. So first one up is filter. We're going to minimize that so we have some more screen real estate. Am I zoomed in enough here? I think so. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on. So first one up, filter. Filter creates a new array with all elements that pass the test implemented by the provided function. So basically you give it an array of items and then you give it a function to run every item in that array against, and it will make a new array containing all the items that pass that test. So in our example here, we've got filter example, and that is just an array of the numbers 1 through 10. Then we've got a console log, so we can ignore that. That's just gonna console log what the result is when we run this file. And then we've got our variable here. So this is just the array of the numbers 1 through 10, and we're calling filter on that. And then we've got num. So num is gonna be, it's gonna run this section here against every number in our array. So the first time it runs it, num is 1. It does 1 modulo 2. And if we run that over here, that gives us back 1. So if you don't know what this does, this just gives you the remainder whenever you divide. So like if you do 2 modulo or 4 modulo 2, 2 is evenly divisible, sorry, 4 is evenly divisible by 2, so it would return 0. If you did 5 modulo 2, 5 is not evenly divisible by 2, there's 1 left over, so it would return 1. So that's how that works. When we run 1 modulo 2, we get the number 1 back, right? Now, 1 in code is a true value. 0 is false, 1's true. So 1 modulo 2 is true. So what's it gonna do? It's gonna make a new array and add 1 to that array. Now, next time it runs, it uses the number 2. So we do 2 modulo 2, we get 0. Now, like we said, 0 is a false value in code, so this returns false, and it's going to do nothing with that value. Next, we got 3, so 3 modulo 2, we get 1. Again, 1 is a true value in code, so it will add 3 to our new array. And then it will continue on with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 until it has completed a cycle through the entire array. So let's see what happens when we run this file. So it continues on. What this is doing is basically filtering out the even numbers. So when we run this file, we get 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So it filtered out all of the even numbers. And that is basically how filter works. If we do the inverse of this, not num modulo 2. So this will basically just give us the inverse. This little bang operator is basically like an inverter. So like if you have like bang true, it's gonna be false. If you have bang false, it's gonna be true. Hopefully that explains a little bit about how filter works. If you have questions about any of these, feel free to let me know in the comments below, or come join Discord, ask questions in there, or also the self.dev subreddit. Feel free to ask questions there and I will happily respond there as well. Now on to the next one, find. We're gonna clear our console and our shell here. So let's comment out this one and uncomment this one. So find returns the first value in the provided array that satisfies the provided testing function. So it's kind of similar to filter, but it's only going to return the first value it finds that passes the test. So here we've got our find example, and that is just an array of some animals and then the word floof, because I couldn't think of a fourth animal at the time. We've got bird, dog, bird, cat, and floof. Now, again, we've got our console log, which is irrelevant. It's just logging what the result is. And when we run this file, we've got our find example. So that's the array here. And we're calling find on it. And we're saying everything in here is gonna be an animal. And then we're looking for the case in which animal is equal to cat. So first time it runs, it's got bird here. Bird strictly equal to cat? No, it's not. So that's false, so it goes to the next one. Dog, so dog, is dog strictly equal to cat? No, it's not. So go on to the next one. The bird, is bird strictly equal to cat? As we saw the first time? No, it's not, so it'll skip that. And then it gets to cat, and it says, hey, is cat strictly equal to cat? That's true, so it's going to return cat. No, these are kind of like kindergarten-like examples, but trying to make this as easy to understand as possible. So let's run this file, and we should get cat back. Sweet, and we do. Now, what happens if we try to find something that's not in the array? Let's uncomment this and comment this out. Let's run the file one more time, and we get back undefined. So what happens here is it runs through the entire array, and find does not have anything that meets this test case. So it returns undefined basically. So that is how find works. On to the next one, indexOf. So what this is going to do is look through the array and basically return the index of the value that you're looking for, right? So I'm like I said in the last video, I'm into the boys, so we're using characters from the boys: Homelander, the Deep, Starlight, Butcher, Edgar, and uncomment this because we need that, and then split this up from the console log again because we just want to make this easier to read. So we've got our array, and then we're looking for the index of Butcher, right? So as we know, arrays start with the index 0. So this Homelander is 0, the Deep is 1, Starlight's 2, Butcher's 3, Edgar is 4. So when we run index of Butcher, we would expect it to return 0, 1, 2, 3. We would expect it to return 3, right? So let's go to our shell here, and we're gonna do node indexOf.js. Did I spell that right? I didn't spell that right. What is this stuff up here? Why is it in the way? Node indexOf.js. There we go. And it returns 3. So basically what this does is it looks through the array and it looks for what we give it, which is Butcher, and then it just returns the index of that item. So if we had, let's comment this out so there's no red stuff. This is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Homelander 0, the Deep 1, Starlight 2, Butcher 3. Thus, it returns 3. Hope that's simple enough and you guys get that. If this is making sense and you guys like it and you're learning stuff, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows I'm doing good stuff. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the cool stuff I put out. Now, what happens if we try to find like something that's not in the array, right? Like, let's search for Huey. He's not in the array. What's gonna happen? We're gonna get -1 back. Oh, not play. We want to do this. There we go. So this is a good way to check if something is in an array. You can just do index of that item, and if it returns -1, then you know that item is not in the array. So that is index of. On to the next one, map. Now map is going to create a new array populated with the result of calling a provided function on every element in the calling array. What does that mean? It's basically going to make you give it an array of values, and then something you want to do to those values, and it's going to return a new array with whatever you wanted done to those values done. So in our example here, we've got an array of colors: red, blue, green, and pink. And in here, we're just going to give it that array, and we're going to say we want to map those items with my favorite color. So it's basically just going to return a new array, and then every item in the array, it's going to have 4 items in the array still, but it's going to say my favorite color is red, my favorite color is blue, my favorite color is green, my favorite color is pink. So let's clear this, and then we'll do node map.js, and boom. Or another example could be like if you have like fruit here, you could say like my favorite fruit is bananas, my favorite fruit is strawberries, blueberries, so on and so forth. But that is how map functions. It's going to create a new array, and it's just going to change it based on whatever you give it here. Or if you have like an array of numbers and you want to multiply them all by 2, you could say num times 2, and it'll return that number times 2. On to our 5th example here. Clear that out. So sum and every. This is going to, you basically give it an array of items, and you're going to say array.sum, and then check if it's equal to whatever item you want. So in here, we'll say sum every example.sum, and then we're going to just call these shapes, and we're going to say shape equals, actually, let's not use circle because that's first. We'll do square. We're basically saying, hey, we're giving it this array, and we're saying if some of these values, or if even one of these values equals square, it's going to return true. So if we run this over here, I forgot a syntax thing. So we're gonna clear that and then run this one more time, and we get true. So it basically runs through. It says shape is circle, shape strictly equal to, is circle strictly equal to square? No, it's not, so that's false. But then it runs again with this. Now it says, is square strictly equal to square? That's true. That's at least one of the values returning true. So this whole thing's gonna return true. Now, the other side of that is every. So if we just switch this to every, lowercase, it's going to check and see if every item in the array is equal to square. And if even one of those items in the array is not equal to square, it's going to return false. So now if we run this again, that's going to return false. Obviously, there's only one item in the array that is square. So let's try it with circle. And it's still false because one of the items in here is not circle. But just to play around with it, we can switch that to circle. And now it's true because every item in the array is a circle. So those are few of the ES6 array methods in JavaScript. Hope this helps you out. If it did, like I said, give me a thumbs up so YouTube knows I'm doing good stuff, and I will try to make more educational material like this. If you want access to this REPL, I will have a link to this in the description, so you can like go to this and play around with it if you want to, change the values, experiment, learn on your own, which I strongly recommend. Playing around with code on your own is the most important part of the learning process. Videos like this, videos like HTML tutorials, CSS tutorials, those are good to let you know like how to do it, like the syntax, but you don't actually start learning stuff until you write the code on your own. That's the most important part. So make sure you go play around with this, change the values, experiment, see what happens, break stuff, fix it, all that fun stuff. If you want to get my resume template, the one I used when I was applying to jobs before I had any technical experience, like my first tech job, look in the description. I'll have a link to where you can get that. I do resume reviews as well, so if you want to shoot me your resume, I will look over it. If I have any feedback, I'll throw it in my next resume review video. If you want to come hang out in Discord or the self.dev subreddit, those are in the description as well. Come talk to me, other aspiring devs, and some of my admin team. And I think that's about it. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.